Welcome to another edition of Islanders Insider. As we come to you from the locker room once again today, we're going to talk some Islanders hoops with head coach Royce Chadwick of Islanders Women. But today, Coach Willis Wilson, he's on the road as he's up in the Northeast recruiting for, well, the future Islanders. Joining us in his place today is the associate head coach of Islanders men's basketball, Coach Marty Gross. Coach?
Stephen, great to be here.
Glad to have you. Thank you for spending time. Just to introduce you to the people out in television land, you've been with Coach Wilson for a number of years. Kind of tell us a little bit about your history with Coach, where you've traveled with him before, and the fact that you guys pretty much know each other so well that you kind of know what each other's thinking.
I met Coach Wilson probably back in 1983 when I was coaching at Rice University. That was the first time I was there. I coached there from 1983 to 1985 before going back to Jacksonville University in Florida. And so that was the first time that I'd met Coach. And then when he got the job back in 1992 at Rice, he called me. I was at Jacksonville at the time as an assistant, and came back to Rice and was with him for 15 years there. So I was at Rice for 17, but 15 of them were with Coach Wilson. And then this is my second year here at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. That's 17 years with the same guy, and that's fairly rare in our business.
No doubt. Now, you know Coach well. You guys have been, fighting through a tough season. There's no doubt. You're coming off a swing in the state of Louisiana, Nicholls State, in southeastern Louisiana. Unfortunately, we found ourselves on the wrong end of the scoreboard in both of the contests. But if things weren't tough enough already, injuries came into play this time around. You were without the services of Nate Maxey, 6'11" sophomore center in the first game, but you're without Joy Williamson as well, who's our third leading scorer and second in the team in minutes played. He's dealing with the after effects of a concussion. Mm-hmm. Coach, like I said, if things weren't tough enough. Right,
and that's unfortunate for Joy. We had some great practices this past week, and he happened to run into a screen. It was like a brick wall, and you could tell right away he was going to have some issues. But we did have some great practices. Unfortunately, sometimes what goes along with that is that you do have some injuries, and we would have liked to have him with us, but it gave an opportunity to play for other guys. And when you've got 10 freshmen and sophomores, and you're trying to integrate 8 new players, sometimes being without someone like Joy, that's a good thing, bad thing, because it's going to give experience to someone else.
Well, it's unfortunate what happened to Joy in practice, and he did suffer the injury. Two guys that, Will Nelson and Jonathan Jordan. Mm-hmm. Now, I think Will averaging just under 14 per game, Jonathan just under 12. Good situation, no doubt, but there is significant room for improvement because, unfortunately, both of them are shooting about 37%.
Right.
How do we improve that number?
Shot selection, number one. We've got to take better shots, and that comes from offensive execution, which is getting better, but also it's one of those deals where even on drive situations we're forcing some shots that we really don't need to force. So we've got to take better shots, and I think our percentage will go up some. And then the other way is just offensive execution, where we're setting a little bit better screens so that when a guy does come open, he's got time and space to make a shot instead of maybe not setting as good a screen and that time and space isn't there. So offensive execution will help in that regard, and just our choices have to be better.
It's frequently talked about that we are one of the youngest teams in the country. We've made reference to it already in this broadcast, but what are the positives and negatives about that statistic alone?
Well, first, the negatives. We came into a situation where there's really no senior leadership. So we've got young kids that they have to provide the leadership, and there's nothing that they can point to other than us trying to help them provide that leadership. You know, any coach will tell you it's better to have someone in the locker room who can provide that type of leadership to, you know, tell a guy what to do, how to do it, and when to react, and, you know, how to do something on a championship caliber level.
We're at the midpoint of Southland Conference play, or coming up on the midpoint of Southland Conference play, actually. Is it an advantageous opportunity at that point to prepare for a team in a return engagement?
We're trying to win a game. We're trying to, you know, we're looking at each opportunity as an opportunity to improve, to get better as a team. Every chance to play, that's like a tournament game for us. We're going into each game looking at it as an opportunity to get better, to improve. We want to win a game, and then we'll worry about the next game. Then when we get to that game, we'll win another game. But we've got to win a game, and then focus on the next one when it comes up.
Should fans expect to see this team kind of stay the course, or possibly are we going to see some changes in combinations that might showcase players in a different way?
Well, you know, your roster's ever changing, and ours is too. And we're adding, you know, we're going to add at least 3 players. One we signed, Jeff Beverly from Clear Springs, 6'6", 235, having a great year. Jake Coher, who was with us last year, but had the 2 surgeries with his hips. He'll be back, and you know, we've really missed his, you know, his toughness and also his shot making ability. So we'll add him, and then we're going to add another player. So that's 3 new players to a team that has everyone coming back. So you asked earlier about you know, the negative of not having upperclassmen. Well, the positive thing is we have everyone back, and we're making progress daily and with each game, and you can see it. You can see it in the play of the young kids. You can see it in their work ethic. They're buying into that whole idea, that whole culture of pro time, and they're in the gym, and they're trying to bring a championship here to Corpus Christi, and so that's the good thing. You got young guys, but they're beginning to see the benefits of that, and how hard you have to work to get to that level. And so these young guys, you know, they want that, so they're buying into what you know, the coaches offer, and we're making strides. We're making progress.
Coach, we appreciate it. Thank you for sitting in today for Coach Wilson.
Thank you very much for having me.
Associate Head Coach Marty Gross joining us here in the locker room today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And best of luck.
Thanks.
When we come back on Islanders Insider, we're going to look ahead towards Islanders softball's upcoming season. Our correspondent Eric Cantu will bring you the story when we come back. You're watching Islanders Insider. Welcome back to Islanders Insider. At this time, let's check in with our field correspondent Eric Cantu as he brings us up to speed on what's next for Islanders softball.
Islanders softball is back with a new team and attitude. The Islanders are finding their way towards a conference championship.
My expectations are extremely high. As a team, the main goal is obviously a conference championship and to advance to regional and advance as far as we can. Personally, a team goal would be, for myself, would be to be the best leader that I possibly can, both on and off the field.
This group has seemed to take on more of our personality as a staff and more expectations of what we have and not what the previous staff had.
Team captains Meagan McKinney and Valerie Perez are stepping up to the plate in their leadership roles and creating a better relationship with the coaches.
With Meagan and Val, they're both, great leaders. They are different in the fact that Meagan's more of an on-the-field lead by example. Val's more of a vocal leader. What she says usually goes, and with the both of them, what they're bringing to this group is helping us go in the right direction.
With a year already under their belt with Coach Hughes, McKinney believes the relation between the coaching staff and team has improved greatly.
The best thing is that she doesn't get mad at us by yelling at us. it pretty much is a disappointment face. But if she has a problem with something that she's doing, that we're doing, she will talk to us about it instead of yelling at us.
We have good relationships with all of them, and they're very approachable people. And aside from being good coaches, they're good people. So it makes it a little easier to, ask those questions that you have. And also just working extra with them. They're always there to throw us, extra pitches or, hit us extra balls, whatever it may be. They're just genuinely doing what they can to make us a better team.
The role of leadership on this team is a major part of their dynamic that both McKinney and Perez take very seriously.
I believe my role, specifically my role as a leader, is the lead by example. I do try to show my teammates how you can get better and that you do need to work hard. And Val is our other leader, and I believe she's more of the vocal leader. She does bring everybody together and gives great speeches to the team.
I think that I've experienced a lot, although I'm younger than some, I've experienced a lot throughout the different sports that I've played, just different dynamics on different teams. And in each team I've been in a leadership role. And so just having experience with that in the past is kind of given me more experience now.
Being picked fourth in the conference, the Islanders are ready to exceed expectations of those around the conference.
Some might take that as an insult, to where I think we're going to take that as an opportunity to prove some people wrong. And aside from that, we have lost a few over the break. And although we would have rather not lost them, something that we did gain was team camaraderie and team chemistry. And that's something that, along with the talent that we have, it's something that's really special. And that's really something that's going to take us to the next level.
We eagerly await the much-anticipated season opener on February 7th to see the Islanders' culmination of hard work of the offseason. With Islanders Insider, I'm Eric Cantu.
Welcome back to Islanders Insiders. We come to you from the locker room today. At this time, we're going to talk some women's hoops with the head coach of Islanders women's basketball, Coach Royce Chadwick. Coach, appreciate you joining us.
Nice to be here.
We spoke with Coach Marty Gross earlier from men's basketball. You two also coming from the Louisiana swing, heading to Nicholls in southeastern Louisiana. Saw some glimmers of some good play at times, but unfortunately came up short in both contests. Give me your take on the first game against Nicholls.
Well, I thought we played well on the defensive end against Nicholls, but we had 29 turnovers. We haven't been shooting the ball very well from the floor, but we did shoot the ball well against Nicholls. Shot over 40%. We out-rebounded them. So we're showing some improvement in some different areas, but we just had so many turnovers that we really couldn't overcome them. Nicholls has a very good inside-out attack, and we kind of held them at bay early, but then they got their inside game going, and that opened up their outside game in the second half, and we were really overrun there as the game wore on. So I saw some glimmers of some hope in that we did control the paint a little bit better than we have in the past, but 29 turnovers is just not going to win any basketball games.
I've been trained by coaches in the past that said when you're looking at a stat sheet, rebounds, shooting percentage, and turnovers are pretty much the three statistics. Normally, if you win 2 of 3, you win the game, but that's not always the case.
Well, no, it really isn't. Sometimes one category can so outweigh the other. If you're playing a basketball game like we did the next night against Southeastern, and we outscored them from the floor, well, that's really good, except for the fact that they had 32 free throws, and we didn't get to the free throw line nearly as much as they did. So we were in a situation where one of their categories was so blatantly large that we couldn't overcome it with our categories, and that was the same thing against Nicholls. We had 29 turnovers, and you have to get an awful lot of rebounds to overcome 29 turnovers.
There's no doubt. And you're talking about getting to the free throw line. In certain circumstances, some people would immediately point to the officials, and sometimes, yeah, that's just life on the road. But at other times, you have to kind of point the finger at yourself because you don't put yourself in a situation to get to the line in a lot of cases. Is that correct?
Well, at Southeastern, we talked at halftime. I don't think Southeastern had a field goal till like the 12-minute mark of the first half. We were playing good defense, but every time they got in the paint, we fouled them, and they had 7 made free throws. So it was like 12-7, but they had no field goals. So at the half, we talked about these are the things that we have to do. We have to cut down on our turnovers, which we had 12 at that time, and we have to not have what we call primary fouls, and that is on the ball. You got to channel them in the direction we want you to go, which is baseline, and rely on your help to step up and stop the drivers. Well, we kept having primary fouls, and I thought that was our undoing in both games.
In the game against Southeastern, you got a big performance from Jessica Jammer. Career high 22 points, had a team high 7 boards on the night. Unfortunately, in that game, even though you shot over 40%, the team went 0 for 10 from the three-point line. It's always one thing that can be the ultimate difference.
I think when you have a team that's been through so much adversity like our team has, whenever one thing is not going well for us, we tend to drop our head very quickly. And I know on our bench we were constantly pointing out to our players and telling them, keep your chin up, we're okay, we're going to get this done. But it's 58-55. I think they're going down the stretch. We get an open look at a three, and our whole bench exploded, but we missed it. We go down, get the stop, come back, 58-55 again. We get a three from the other side. Our whole bench jumps up. We missed it, and it just seemed like the air came out of our balloon because just haven't had a lot of good things, good luck come our direction. But I told our team after the game, I think we are playing like a caged animal. We got to play like a cornered animal. We got to start playing like we are fighting for our lives, and there's going to be an explosion with our team, and hopefully it'll come this Friday against Sam.
No doubt. When it comes to situations like this and getting a turnaround, a lot of times you look towards seniors to ultimately step up for you. Is it the senior class, or is there in particular someone that really that you need to step up and be the leader? Because you're not in the locker room every time. A lot of times they talk amongst themselves, but someone needs to step up. Is that the case?
Without a doubt. We were without Elisa Roberts this trip. She injured her knee, should be back very shortly with our team. But we did have Imani Dunn and Verniqua Taylor and Jessica Jammer, and they played 30-plus minutes against Southeastern. We had a meeting, and our seniors are trying to lead the team. And here's why. We have 10 games left, plus every game we can earn. Those seniors are not going to be playing in the WNBA. Every time they step out on the court, that's taking away one of their games. Every time we can win a game, that's getting them an extra game. So they are actually playing for their basketball careers and playing for their lives. And that was their thought, their talk to the team was, look, we got to gain some more games. Every game we win puts us closer to the tournament. Once we get in the tournament, every game we win gets me another game in my career. And those girls are staring down the light at the end of the tunnel. They know their careers are winding down, and they're trying to grasp for every game they can get.
How would you define character in the face of adversity?
Well, I think there's an old saying that says something like, in the depth of winter, you find the inner summer in your being. And I think that's where we are right now. I think we are tried and tested, and the adversity that we seem to be going through, where we used to drop our head and something bad would happen and we'd hang our head for 2 plays. Now we're still dropping our head when something bad happens, but it's only about a 15-second time period. So hopefully we're getting better at that, and we'll get to the point where when something bad happens, we can immediately shake it off, and here we go.
I talked with Coach Gross earlier, and the idea of preparing for return engagements. Do you find something advantageous about it, or what is your philosophy about these return engagement opportunities in conference play?
Well, without a doubt, I think it is advantageous for us because you know exactly how they're going to play you. You know exactly what they're going to do with your certain sets. So I think that as you see the year go along, you'll see those scores get closer and closer. Now, the confident team in a close game will attack it knowing we're going to win this because we've been winning this. The unconfident team in a close game goes, oh my gosh, I hope it's not on me to make these free throws or on me to make this shot. But once you have overcome that hurdle and you've done it once, now you can do it again and again. We got to get our players to the point where they win a close game, so they've done it once, now they can do it again and again.
Let's look just forward a bit here. Do you have any updates on your signees, the people who signed the letters of intent to play here? How have they been performing this season?
Well, for the most part, we've been out to see every one of them, and they are having spectacular years. I think that you look at what they're accomplishing with their teams, and they are scoring. We have three-point shooters. We have ball handlers. We have a low post presence. We have a shot blocker. We have I think one of the best high post players that I've ever recruited. So we have a little bit of everything that's coming in this class. So they've had good years. We're very excited about them getting here. And for the most part, every time we talk to them, they're like, I'm coming in the summer. I can't wait to get started.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Coach Royce Chadwick joining us here in the locker room today. When we come back, we'll bring you up to speed on what's next for Islander athletics. Stay with us. More to come on Islanders Insider. Welcome back to Islanders Insider as we close things up today. But first, let's bring you the upcoming schedule for Islander athletics. On Friday, February 1st, Islanders women's basketball returned to the campus of Texas A&M Corpus Christi as they play at the Dugan Wellness Center hosting Sam Houston State. That start time, 7 o'clock. Then on Saturday, February 2nd, Islander track and field will head to Lubbock, Texas to the Red Raider Open. That's an all-day event. Also on Saturday, men's basketball will play on campus at the Dugan Wellness Center as they host the Bearcats of Sam Houston State as well. That game sponsor of the day, HEB, and the start time, 1 o'clock. Also on that Saturday, women's tennis will travel to Dallas, Texas for a neutral site conference matchup against Central Arkansas, 1 o'clock start time. Then on Tuesday, February 5th, women's tennis continues in Dallas, Texas as they take on Prairie View. Men's tennis will travel to Prairie View also on February 5th. Both of those match times, 1 o'clock. For more information about Islander athletics, you can always go online to www.goislanders.com or check in on Islanders social media on Facebook and Twitter. We want to thank, of course, Marty Gross, Associate Head Coach of Islanders men's basketball, joining us today, and Head Coach Royce Chadwick of Islanders women's basketball, each joining us in the locker room. Thank you again to Eric Cantu and Islanders softball, and thank you, of course, to all of you for tuning in today. I'm Stephen King from the locker room. This has been Islanders Insider.